Hello, it's Julie at Love's Beginning. And what I have to talk about today is the blessing of discomfort. These energetic times are very, very intense. We're all getting so many opportunities to relax into joy. But as we do that, what we've been using to block joy is rising to the surface. And we have to get very real with ourselves. And it's kind of like the buck stops here. It always comes back to us and our thinking and how we're perceiving things. And it's not really about what we think we see out there. So in this time when we really need to get real with ourselves, there's so much we can release and so much we can relax into and so much help available to us. So the first thing my attention was drawn to is any uncomfortable physical feeling is a blessing. So I'm accustomed to seeing this as if I have an uncomfortable physical feeling, the first impulse would be to make it end, just to do what is necessary in the perception to end it. Or if I can't end it, to distract away from it or to solve the problem. And instead, there's something else available, recognizing that the uncomfortable feeling is a perceived sensation. I'm obviously not going to do this if I touch a hot stove. I'm not there. I'm just talking about, for example, I have itchiness, like itchy skin, eczema. So that's a pattern I expect to experience. I expect to experience flare-ups and I expect to struggle with it. And to every time I experience it, just take the moment to pause and recognize it and see the opportunity there and see what I can sink beneath the perception that this needs to continue, the perception that it's, what do I want to say? Actually detracting from my experience or from what I am. It's and the recognition is that in some way this experience of discomfort is something I chose. It's a reflection that this experience of separation is something I chose. It was never anything done to us by an outside entity, anything in our lives, even if it seems that way. If someone walks up and slaps you, I mean, it seems like that's direct perceptual evidence that an outside entity did something harmful to you. And it's much harder to see in that moment of acute discomfort that you chose to experience this way. But with the smaller discomforts in our daily lives, if they're energetic, like we're feeling anxious or not focused, or if they're physical, these are opportunities to recognize the perception and sinking beneath it into the light we are, or the profound relaxation of what we all are together. That's shining forth a lot for me today. And these days, a lot is just the opportunity to go past my perception of what I think is out there, all these separate things or people, and to realize the light's behind them all. Am I willing to allow the light to shine through all of them? And I can't be judging them or analyzing or deciding about any of those seen as separate things, to allow the light to shine through them back to me in recognition of what I am. I'm that light, to allow that light to shine forth through me. So no matter what seems to be happening, no matter who seems to be doing what, it's none of it's relevant if we remember what's real and tune into that and invite it and allow it. So yes, it's intense, but it's also such a big opportunity for all of us to allow what's real to shine forth. So the physical discomforts or any discomforts, they're simply indicators that we believe we are separate beings. And have we had enough? Have we had enough? The next moment I feel any sort of discomfort or uncertainty or doubt or anything, have I had enough of the perception of being a separate being? And would I like to surrender that now? Is there any threat in surrendering that perception of a separate being and allowing what's real to shine forth everywhere. Is there any reason to block that at all? Because every moment of discomfort asks that question. Is there any reason to block that? Or can I drop this tension that blocks just what wants to shine through in very, very kind ways? Any uncomfortable physical sensation is only an effect, and effects can be followed back to their cause. So let's take itchiness of the skin. It's an effect. Effects can be followed back to their cause. The cause is the wish to perceive separate things. and so if you have itchy, you have not itchy. If you have skin in distress, you have skin that is healthy. And these are opposites. And in the world, I play with going back and forth, trying to get from unhealthy skin to healthy skin. And we do this in many ways. But the opportunity right here, right now, is to sink beneath both of those opposites in surrender and allowing everything to be resolved, not through means that we do on purpose to make up for something that we think we did wrong. Okay, this is feeling new coming through me right now. When I'm trying to go from opposite to opposite in the world, and I'm trying to run that myself. So I'm in a dirty room and I'm trying to make it clean. And I think that's a good idea. And maybe I'm trying to make up for being messy before. There's guilt and I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to change the room from dirty to clean to make up for my slovenliness before. Let's say that. That's over. That's old. We're done. We're done with that. That's what I'm feeling. Trying to play this game of going back and forth between the opposites and judging everybody else. Like, that one is unhealthy in this area, but I wish they'd move toward health. Or that one's super healthy in this area of emotions, let's say, and this one teaches other ones who are unhealthy in the area of emotions. Like, all of that opposite thinking is just over, useless. It's just like dropped away as something to lean on. And when that drops away, you're thinking, well, what what now? What We're so used to finding our security in the definition of opposites, or in striving for health, or trying to avoid lack of health. This is just hard to even articulate, but there's something here that it's not either one of those opposites. It's prior to the opposites. And yes, it does guide what we perceive to be our actions in the world. It may take us to things that look like medicines or certain foods, or it may take us away from things. But in so doing, it does not burden us with the judgment that medicine is good or bad, that it would help someone else and someone else must take it. It does not burden us with the judgment. We're just guided, and we're not burdened with any judgment or analysis about it. And in so doing, this is super new coming through me right now. In so doing, we are confident that everybody else, without exception, across time and space, is guided in the same way. Comes in, you can't allow yourself to be guided like that while holding yourself away as separate from everybody else and thinking they haven't caught up to you yet in that guidance. No, when you're in this guidance that is prior to all opposites, you know that you are everybody else. There's no else, and that they're all guided too. And there's profound, profound safety there. And when I said they're guided too, I think that I just saw the counter. It said 9/11. What would that spark? The idea of tragedy or fear, or it's like, that's over. That's in the past. This is now. And if we let the now take care of everything, which I am still learning how to do, clearly, scratching my way through the day sometimes. But if we let the now take care of everything, then we know that everybody else is taken care of. And it's like this elevation of everybody we perceive to be else, this tremendous respect for everybody we perceive to be else, not their personalities, not their bodies, not their accomplishments and a perceived past, just the celebration of who they are. And that gives us the knowing that they're just taken care of as much as we are, and we can trust in what's here for us right now to take care of us, to guide us, because it is us. It's what we all are together. It's our creator and everything ever created, which encompasses everything. So yeah, that's what I just got swept into right now. The other thing that got pointed out to me was your goodness is a pre-existing condition. Think about how much time you would spend judging goodness versus badness of something or other, yourself or somebody else, or how your day's going. Your goodness is a pre-existing condition. It can't ever be changed. Your goodness without opposite. It's just really all that is. So it's that is why it's not covered by insurance. I forgot that part. You know how assurances will say that's a pre-existing condition, so we're not covering it. And what Spirit was telling me is you don't need insurance. You don't need protections. You don't need outrageous rituals or anything to tap into the assistance that's always available for you right now. You don't need that. So it's okay that it's not being covered by insurance. And if we're ever going through an experience in the world where it seems like the supports aren't there for us, maybe you don't have health insurance, something like that. It's always a call to realize there's something very real here for all of us, and it assists all of us. And it's really just a question of tuning into that frequency and being willing to develop the willingness, the commitment to be in that frequency, stay in that frequency, and let that frequency call all the shots, because that frequency is the goodness without opposite that everybody is and always has been, and it's entirely trustworthy. No, it's not your personality self deciding and calling the shots. And that is why it's entirely trustworthy, because none of our personality selves are entirely trustworthy. A personality can't do that. It's fundamentally unstable. But what we all are underneath the personalities and the bodies and all the perceived past, that's entirely trustworthy, entirely stable, really, 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 really helpful. Let's see what else. We share the pre-existing goodness with all, and that is our insurance. We don't need anything else. So if we seem to be lacking something, we only really need the goodness that we are, and whatever we need in the world, we have it right now in terms of worldly goods or abilities, or we have it right now. I'm just asked to pause there and let that soak in. Whatever we need in or from the world, we already have it right now. And then in the next perceived moment, we have it then too. And we don't have to fuss about what seems to come to us in the world. It just comes or goes. That's none of our business. And that feels like really new talking to me. But it's none of our business, and we can just let it be with it what it is and accept it and appreciate it. Not for what it seems to be. You know, if I have a job, I wouldn't appreciate it not for what it seems to be. I would appreciate the goodness without opposite that is always behind it. And if it comes time for that job to change or to not work or to work more, or then it just will. Without our personality efforts, we're coming into a time where we're dropping the personality efforts and allowing the guidance and seeing how beautifully that works, seeing how harmoniously that works, and just letting the goodness without opposite prior to the story we're experiencing, allowing it to run the story and experiencing the joy of it, learning how not to block it. And everywhere we feel discomfort, we're just blocking it, and it's okay because it's a huge habit. It's a huge habit to block the goodness without opposite that will always run the story for us if we allow it. And it's okay. We're all dropping the habit together. And we're all walking home together, no matter how it looks, no matter how it looks. And the last thing, any uncomfortable physical sensation points to a thought about unworthiness that you can release now. And I see the truth in this. The only reason I would attempt to block the light, and yes, it's through habit, but why is that habit there? Because I'm afraid of the light. And before I point at anybody else perceived to be else, there is no else, and say, that one's just afraid of the light. Bring it home. Bring it home first, because any moment of irritation, any moment of doubt, any moment of uncertainty, any moment of certainty that anything or anybody is lacking or wrong or bad ever means I have a belief in my own unworthiness. I believe that the things I experience through separation perception are real, and therefore I believe I have been harmed and am harmful. And that is where my sense of unworthiness comes from. And that is where the motivation to block the light comes from. It comes from that. And it's mine. It's always mine. Because what I see in the world is a reflection of my mind, 100% and always. I can't say it is for you because there's only one of us. But if it resonates for you, then yeah, we're doing this together. And I can never point out there and say that any uncomfortable sensation or emotion is truly about something other than me. It can't be. So this is the time where we really take responsibility for our state of mind joyfully and discover the power, the equal power that we all have and are, because we're willing to take responsibility, and we allow the story to be run by love, by what we are, by what you are, by what everyone across time and space is and always has been. So that's very good news. In the midst of uncomfortable times when lots can be surfacing, there's so much good news arising that wants to stream through us. And we are going to allow it. We'll go through every day learning how to drop our blocks, and we'll allow it. So happy to share the good news with you, and wishing you a good day.